We can't hear you. Oh, 1 second. We're not live a minute.
Dun, dun.
6 seconds. Well, I think we're here. We are. Yes, we are. Yeah. Well, welcome to another episode of Richie and Rogue, totally unfiltered. We love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, folks, today, guess what? We've got some superstars on the panel. That's right. And our guest waiting to come on. From the global smash hit I'm Too Sexy to decades of reinvention, controversy, independence, unapologetic commentary, they've remained utterly, unmistakably themselves, and they've never, ever changed.
And they are right, said Fred. At the centre of it all, frontman Richard Fairbrace, Richie, the voice, the presence, the 6-foot plus charisma in a mesh top who somehow turned irony into a global anthem.
Yeah, he certainly did. I want to get one of those vests. And alongside him, the cool, composed, quietly razor-sharp counterpart, guitarist and co-founder Fred Fairbrace. And
see, you said Fairbrace and I said Fairbrace because, darling, you're Welsh and I'm very English.
Know. And they've sold millions. They've topped charts on both sides of the Atlantic. They've embraced, they've been criticized, cancelled, uncancelled. Still, they're still standing. That's a song there. I'm still standing better than whatever.
It's not their song, though.
No, it's not. No, their song is way, way better. And we're so excited to have them on the show. It is, of course, the wonderful Right Said Fred.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello, guys.
Hello,
Hey, guys. Hey, listen, first of all, thank you ever so much for agreeing to come on the show. We have been so stoked. We've had loads of guests on this show, right? But I got to say it, Rogue. You two are the best we've ever had on so far. By a
I'm not sure the other guests will like that.
Oh, bless you guys.
So, Rogue.
We've just been trying to sort of do a bit of research and find all about you because obviously you used to be a poster on my bedroom and I would look at you and be like, oh my gosh, there they are. And, you know, I have to figure out who you are, what actually sort of provokes you. And I've been thinking about the song, you know, I'm Too Sexy. That time, that era, everybody was out there just kind of loving life. They were doing their pills. They were doing their club nights. They were drinking. They were doing whatever they wanted to do. And there was you epitomizing that in a song. It was glorious. We absolutely loved it.
And I got to say, you had hot bodies. And,
God.
I'm not gay, right? I'm just letting you know. I'm nothing against gay people, right? But you guys were ripped, man. I mean seriously. And of course,
we started training long before the band broke, just to get out of, I don't know why. I'll tell you what it was. I can remember from a personal point of view. Do you remember when there was shop windows, when it's just a big mirror? Some shop windows, when there's no shop happening, it's just a big mirror. And I walked past, I had long hair at the time, and I walked past and I looked like Max Wall. I looked like, do you know who Max Wall is? No, you probably don't. Big nose, terrible hair, skinny legs. You know, I've got to do something about this. And that's what happened. So that's when I started going to gym.
Yeah.
And then Fred started a few months later.
Yeah, I liked gym life, actually. I just fancied being skinny when you're young is cool.
Yeah.
And then as I hit my late 20s, I started to think, not sure about this.
No.
And so I started training in about 84, 5,
Yeah,
4,
probably.
something like that.
Yeah.
And I just liked it. I liked it was before headphones, really. Well, not headphones, but before, you know, you could have your ear pods and everything.
Yeah.
And then we started working in the gym, and we really enjoyed that because we could play lots of loud music and train. and make a little bit of money on the side. So that was all right. And I've had depression for years, so I
It
found
does help you the head.
Yeah, really good
It
for your
does.
head, man. Really good for your depression.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We saw a guy when we were in New York. We saw a guy wearing a T-shirt, and it said, "I'm not very clever, but I can lift heavy things."
That's brilliant.
Pretty accurate.
This is kind of how I thought.
Yeah.
That video that you put together, which went world famous, actually, and
Yeah.
I mean, it still rings in my head now. We were watching it back. We're going to show it in the show a little bit later.
Okay.
It's just that I did a bit of research, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. I mean, it cost you about £1,000 at the time. You didn't have much money. I think the video itself cost about $3,000 to put together. So you're about $4 or $5,000 to put that together, which back then, it wasn't a small amount. But in the industry you were in, I mean, you did that on a shoestring budget.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I don't think what happened was the label weren't really prepared to pay any money at all. But once they saw it climbing up the charts, they realized they had to do something. Half the video is shot in a studio, as you know, and then there's another half which is shot outside with a car driving around Notting Hill Gate in North London. The reason for that is that the power went down in the studio.
Yeah.
That's all that happened. There was a massive power cut. Everything went off in the studio. We had one day and we had to go outside, and that was it. That was and it was the only thing we did do with the girls. We specifically didn't want models. We didn't want fancy models. We just wanted regular Essex type girls, and so they were great. They were great. Yeah, they were really good.
Oh, fantastic.
It's always makes it better when you have somebody that's good to work with, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it was 6 weeks, wasn't it? Number 2
I think
in 1991. Yeah.
Number 2 in the UK,
Yeah. And so I mean, it was number 1 in 32 countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, did your lives change after that song? Was it that song that changed your lives?
Yes.
Yeah, it changed everything.
It changed really quickly. I mean, the song was hated by all the record companies. Every record company rejected it, and then we released it on our own, sort of in tandem with a promotion company. But there was no record label at the time, no record deal. So then the promotions company sort of created a label called Tug, and that was just to service I'm Too Sexy, because it started to get plays. It clearly started looking like it was going to move. So they wanted to be the label, which they were. Mm-hmm. And then basically everything was chaos, to be honest with you, because
it looks planned, but it wasn't.
Yeah, because Richard and I had been in bands, and Rob, the other guitar player, had been in bands, but we hadn't been in a band together. We'd never been on stage together. And our manager had never been a manager. And our record label had never been a record label. So suddenly this track, this track just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And understandably, everyone's a bit like, what the hell's this? Because we thought maybe we'd get a breaker and maybe we'll go top 40 and then we'll do another single. But it just went boom. And suddenly we're getting phone calls from Japan and Australia. And literally within, 6 weeks, it was top 10, all over, certainly all over Europe.
Yeah.
And then it started breaking in America on import. I think it went top 40 on import, and then Charisma picked it up, and it went number 1 in America. And it was extraordinary because there was no plan. I mean, even when we with Charisma, and they said this song is, we're going to tell you, we've not spent any money on this song. we didn't have to. It just went insane. And they said that the budget was like $20,000, which for America obviously is, you spend that on a few meals, lunch. So I think it caught everybody by surprise, and then everyone thought we'd be a one-hit wonder. And then Don't Touch Us Kiss came out, and that actually did better in a lot of countries than Sexy did.
Yeah.
Because in some countries like
Germany,
France and Germany
didn't do
certain parts of South America, I'm Too Sexy was a little bit too quirky. And then Don't Touch Us Kiss was just a stand-up pop song, And so that actually did better in some territories than Sexy had. And suddenly the 2-hit, then we got the 2-hit wonder tag. And we really did. And then we did Dippy Dippy in the album. Then we got the 3-hit wonder. And I think about I don't know what it was, about 10 years ago, we were described as a 7-hit wonder or something. It was like, oh, mate, come on.
Yeah.
And I think, Richard was mates with Kenny Everett back in the day. And Kenny said to Richard, he said the English record industry will never forgive you. When we, what do you mean? He said, because you proved you didn't just prove them wrong because the track was a hit, but you rubbed their noses in it. And he said they'll never forgive you. And that came to light when we were at the Brits in '92, and we were number 1 in America, number 1 in the UK with a single and an album, and number 1 in about 40 countries. And the Brits ignored us. And so we knew at that point that we were going to have to be. We knew we were independent, and we knew we weren't in the club.
But just as an indication as to where the egos lie very often in the music business, although we got ignored on that night, we stayed in the auditorium and watched the rest of the event. But crying, obviously. But our record company walked out.
Yeah,
wow.
They actually walked out in a huff.
They stormed out.
They were more offended, I think, than we were. Yeah.
I mean, can I just because Ro's got a pile of questions that our audience have asked as well. You want to put to you. Hope you're okay with time. Do you think the video for "I'm Too Sexy" was kind of ahead of its time? Because of course, it was kind of really out there. It was kind of really raunchy and kind of racy. I mean, did you feel you were like you were changing that industry at that particular time?
No. Oh no, we didn't.
Not really. No.
At every single stage, we just did what we thought, what we wanted to do. We didn't we didn't have any thought about the cultural significance of it, if there was any. We didn't. It's like with the video, all the clothes we're wearing in the video are our own clothes. We had no stylists. We had no.
We used to walk around like that.
We used to walk around like that. I mean, we actually did. Yeah. And it was only when we did Top of the Pops that we started working with a guy called Peter Hawker, who was our stylist for quite a long time. And but in the initial stages, I mean, we did a show up with Kid Jensen, who was a DJ at the time, and in Essex somewhere. And we still got some pictures of us coming out on stage, and I think I'm wearing a hat and braces and a pair of jeans, and
you're going on.
You know what I mean? I mean, really, it's like what is this? So initially, it was all just very chaotic. It was our own clothes. We made it up as we went along.
We did, yeah.
The sexy thing, the muscles thing. We just, in fact, it was the video director. He said, "Look, you're in great shape. Take your shirts off." Yeah, it was his idea.
Also, because the lyric, he said, "Yeah, you're in good shape," and the lyric says, "I'm too sexy for my shirt." You've got to take your shirt off. Yeah. So right. And so,
aren't you lucky that we didn't sing "I'm Too Sexy for My Underwear"?
You spoke earlier about how you guys were doing music before, separately, and then you came together. So, Richard, you were a session bassist for Mick Jagger, weren't you?
Well, I did all this. Yeah, I did David. I was nearly said I did David Bowie. That's not strictly true, not in the biblical sense, anyway. I worked with David Bowie. I did 3 videos with him, and Fred and I did one with Mick Jagger, and then Fred did one with Bob Dylan. And a lot of this stuff came through Fred's girlfriend at the time, who was a choreographer. And of course, back in the day, every video, it was de rigueur. You had to have a dance.
It was law.
It was law. You couldn't.
Absolutely the law.
There would be questions in the house.
Rogue normally dances on this show. Normally, she does the dancing. Yeah, so
I can tell that. So we that's where all the work came from. So I did 3 with David Bowie, and Fred did one with Bob Dylan.
We got the Mick Jagger gig because he saw Richard with David Bowie and thought that liked the way he looked, and so he just said, "Do you want to come do my gig?" And so then Richard said, "You need a guitar player," and he did. So, and it was only promo stuff. We weren't doing the album or anything. We're just doing promo.
I'm far too slow as a bass player to
we're not
to be a session player.
Yeah, we're not session players.
No, if you hired me as a bass player, each session would cost you £10,000 while I work out what the bloody hell's going on.
We're not those sort.
I'm not going to pretend.
We're not those sort of players.
No, I'm not.
I mean, when I did the Bob Dylan thing, although that was part of a movie called Hearts of Fire, which is possibly the worst film ever made.
I liked it.
We actually did play when we were doing some of the arena shows. The band played, and we had some very good players. We had Red Beach from Winger. We had Timmy Capello from Tina Turner. Had a great drummer, cannot remember his name.
Timmy Capello?
No, Timmy Capello was sax.
Sax.
Yeah. And so we had some good, band was good. So we were doing sort of just some rock and roll stuff, just to, in between takes, and with the audience were there, and you got 10,000 people and they're bored, understandably, because it's a film. So we played a bit, and it was good. We sort of did Route 66 and that sort of stuff. So you had a bit of play.
Although Bob Dylan didn't know how to play Route 66.
Yeah, that was weird.
Can you believe that? No.
I said Route 66. Dun, 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 dun. He said, "What's that?" I said, well, I didn't say Bob, but
what's that, Mr. Dylan?
Yeah, I had the job of teaching him the chords, because not for Route 66, but some of the songs in the film were not written by him. They were written by a guy called Beau Hill, I think.
That's right, yeah.
And because everyone else was New York based and we were filming in Canada, I was from the UK, so they kept me in Canada instead of me flying back and forth. So everyone else went back to New York. And I had to teach Bob Dylan the chords for some of the songs, so I went to his trailer.
Wow.
So that was cool. So I'm sitting here.
I mean, that's something in there. I had to teach Bob Dylan. That's just wow, incredible.
That is pretty cool.
It was pretty weird, because I was a Dylan fan, and I love National Skyline and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there going, it's B. I can't actually remember. It was songs in F. So we got F and B flat, usual stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, this is mad. I'm teaching Bob Dylan how to play guitar. So, and he was lovely, actually. I mean, everyone's got a jacket, didn't he? Yeah, everyone's got their stories. And the wardrobe lady came up to me at the end of the shoot and said, "This is the jacket Bob Dylan was wearing, and he's happy for you to have it." And I've still got it. I've still got
it. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Really cool.
Yeah. So he was nice to me. I mean, I know there's stories about every artist, isn't there? But he was speak as you find, and he was nice to me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you were talking about how obviously you went to the gym, and it was, you'd suffered with depression, but music's also really therapeutic, isn't it? So I used to run an animal therapy center, and I really felt that sort of using animals and having people who had sickness, depression would actually sort of help. And also music was part of that program. Yes. So I think when you're in a band and you're playing that music, having that kind of therapy as well, do you find that helps with depression for you guys as well?
Well, that's why people sort of, because off stage we can be a bit intense and I'm a bit grumpy sometimes, and particularly on the road, I'm quite short-tempered sometimes. Anyway, and
he's nodding in the background.
Sometimes,
and people are surprised. And I think what it is, the reason we write the way we do, You're My Mate or Dippy Dippy or I'm Too Sexy, we write it to cheer ourselves up, because I don't want to go on stage and play songs in minor keys all night. It's not our gig. So I think we write in a way to sort of cheer ourselves up. And a couple of people said, "Why do you write? You're mouthy about the COVID or pandemic. Why do you write about that?" And in a way, we write to escape that. So
mostly,
So I mean, we did a little bit with songs like "We're All Criminals" and "Spiritual War." We kind of touched on it. But nine times out of 10, we write to escape the outside world, not to reflect it.
Yeah, and also when you're on stage, you really don't want people crying in sorrow in front of
Handy out tissues.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's not what you want.
So music is therapy.
It is, and you guys, obviously, to sustain the career for as long as you did. I mean, in the face sometimes of hostile criticism, because we'll come to that a bit later in the show, because we know what you guys have stood for and the journey you've been on as well. Which we've supported, and not just on X, but we've seen the campaigns you've been part of, because you believe in civil liberties and freedom and all the things that matter, body autonomy. But I think one of the things that I'm a bit starstruck with you guys, because obviously you're the most famous people we've ever had on the show. I got to say that. So I'm a little bit. I'm intrigued by all the people you've met on your journey. Who would be the most? Who's had the biggest impact on you in the world of fame, if you like, as we like to call the entertainment industry? Who had the biggest impact on you two as individuals? Might be different people, both of you. Who would it be?
Well, the person who had the most sort of the words of wisdom was a guy called Peter Gross, or Gross.
Yeah,
I
Gross.
always thought it was Gross, but perhaps it's Gross. He used to own Dingwalls, which was a live music venue in Camden in London. And we became the resident band for a while in Dingwalls. And then Peter started managing us. And he said, "You guys are really good." He said, "But you don't really," he said, "you haven't," he kept on talking about our cutting edge. He said, "You haven't discovered your cutting edge." And I said, "I've got no idea what you're talking about." And he said, "You've got to go to the top of your mountain." I said, "I've got no idea what you're talking about." And he said, "You've got to go to the top of your mountain and you've got to find your cutting edge." And what he meant by that is that we hadn't channeled who we were imitating other bands. And he said, what you need to better do, he said, when you're sleeping at night, you need to be earning money from your record royalties. He said, because you won't want to be on the road your whole life. He said, that's not how it works. And so then when we did Sexy, it suddenly started, I thought, now I understand what Peter was on about. I get it.
There's another guy also. We were about to do a show in Blackpool in a dive. I mean, it's a real dive. And we were warned about broken glass on the floor when we got there, which gives you a rough idea.
It was rough, was it?
It was rough. Yeah. And we were in the dressing room and we were very, very, very off colour. And not, I was
drunk. I was so drunk.
And really in a bad mood. Anyway, who was managing us? Was it Neil Warnock?
It was Neil Warnock.
Neil Warnock. Our manager, Neil Warnock, came down. And
he's a good guy.
And he's a good guy. And he basically said to us, he tore us off a strip for being so negative. He said, it doesn't matter where you're playing. It doesn't matter how many people are in front of you. It's a show.
Do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't take your nonsense out onto the punters. Don't want
one of our viewers here, guys, saying they used to watch you in Camden Town.
Oh my God!
Brilliant memories.
Yeah.
We played Dingwalls a lot, man. We were. I remember the post.
There was a guy. There was a guy. The sound guy at Dingwalls was deaf. He was called.
I love that.
He was called Mutton Jeff. So. He was honestly, and all the sound when any band played there, all you could really hear was
because he couldn't hear the top end.
He couldn't hear the top end, so
he'd crank up the top end, going, "Oh,
very,"
and it would go, "What
very funny. Yeah, we had a good. Peter was lovely, and
we've had some good advice.
Yes, he was lovely.
Yeah, and we had a guy in America, a tour manager called Wally Verson, and Wally was very, very experienced guy. Worked with Guns N' Roses and Queen, all sorts of people.
Yeah,
and we were doing some stuff backstage, and the guy came in, and there was some argument, and I remember him putting the guy up against the wall. He's done work. He said, "I'm not here to make friends. We've got a show to do. Get the fuck out of my way." And what I liked about that was that he was right. It's business. At what you're doing is business. It's music business. The industry is when you make music.
Yeah.
But when you're backstage, when you're about to go on, you're running a business. And he made it very clear to this guy and to us. And when we were in Tokyo with him, he really, really took us to task because we got horribly drunk and misbehaved and everything. And he said, "You can't do this. These people have invited you on their show. You're doing a gig. You're doing interviews. Do not act like an asshole."
Yeah.
And he said, "If you do that, you're going to get a bad rep. No one's going to want to talk to you." And he said that includes me. And he used to be a coach in American football. So all this, he didn't talk this. He was doing the Alec Ferguson hairdryer. He was shouting. We're on the bullet train in Japan, and he was screaming at us, basically like we were 10-year-olds, and we were acting like 10-year-olds, so we deserved it. And so we had sort of those sort of moments where you think, I really need to get my stuff together because I'm acting like a dick.
And also, also when you have a hit record, you do think, until you learn better, you do think there's something special about you.
You think you're important.
You think you're important.
Yeah.
It's really important to recognize the fact that the industry will be there for forever, but we will be gone. The material that you make, the songs, will be there forever, hopefully. But artists that get this out of like actors who throw wobblers about everything, and the coffee's not hot enough, and the coffee's too cold, and it's all to do with a really artificial sense of self-importance. We're not curing cancer. We're not, putting a fire out. We're not, you have to understand what you are. That's not to say that songs aren't important, because they really, really are. but but it doesn't make the people who make them terribly important necessarily.
I think you get. Also, I think with us, have you ever seen Spinal Tap? You ever watched that movie?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a scene in when he's in the dressing room, and he's talking about the meat doesn't fit the bread, and the meat hangs outside the bread, and he has to fold it. And what that means, and I get that, because you lose control of everything. When you get a record breaking, everyone's making decisions apart from you. So you start dialing down. You think of drilling down. Where can I make a decision?
My sandwich.
My sandwich. you lose control. Which is why people lose their crap over. There's not enough ice in my drink, or you haven't filleted my fish, or whatever bullshit it is.
Yeah.
It's because you feel the rest of your life is out of control.
Yeah.
And that's why we went after the initial madness. We decided to go more even independent than we were, because we could not stand the circus.
Yeah,
we don't like it. We're not interested in it. We don't want to be.
Yeah.
We said no. We were invited to Downing Street. We didn't go. We were asked to be part of the Prince's Trust. We didn't go. And the Duke of Edinburgh balls. We didn't go. It's not because we disrespect these people. We just don't want to be part of that. And we like to be left alone, get on and do our gig. And you pay for that. If you're not in the club, you will pay for that. They make you.
It's the George Carlin thing. There's a club and you're not in it.
Yeah,
it's that.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Okay. Rogue would never go to number 10 with this T-shirt on, if you can see that.
Hang on.
Oh, a wanker.
Yeah. Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
She won't get invited to number 10.
No, I am.
Well, there's not a football match that goes by where they're not singing that now.
Yeah.
I know. The dance, the football, the rugby.
Everybody's saying it.
Yeah. Also, what's incredible about that is the music, the thing they sing it to.
Da,
Da 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 da.
Yeah.
oh, it's White Stripes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's White Stripes. Now, when the White Stripes wrote that riff, they never thought for a minute, I guarantee it, that it would be picked up by a football crowd. Never.
Good riff, man.
Great riff. And suddenly it's a football riff.
That's mad. It's
amazing. Yeah.
I forgot about it.
And also true now, as it turns out.
Yeah, and true.
I know.
Yeah.
Very true.
That's
So
very
look, you've
true.
been talking about, you were kind of not part of the club, and it's quite, when you first elevated, and when we are elevated to this positioning that you have this like level of self-importance, and you're like, actually, I am somebody now. I've made it, guys. What happens is you then, for you guys, have gotten to a point where you thought, I actually don't need their approval anymore. I'm not wanting to be part of this, and I need to kind of separate from myself.
Yeah.
But the point is, many others don't.
No.
Why do you think that they don't? And why is it that you decided at that point, this is it? Like I'm stepping away from it.
I think if Sex had been picked up by Sony and we were in that machine from the beginning, I think we would have probably not gone independent, because we were. But Sexy broke as an independent record. We were sorry.
No, I was going to say, the thing about Sexy also, what people forget, is you wouldn't put a record like that out if you actually gave a shit about what people thought.
No, that's true.
You wouldn't. You know what I mean? Because we just didn't. And I remember we did a bit of songwriting, or about to do a bit of songwriting with a guy some years ago. Went to his studio, and the first thing he did, he said, right, let's see what's happening in the top 10 in Germany. No.
Why?
No, that's not what you do. What you do is you do exactly what you feel like you want to do. You don't start deferring to other people. And Sexy was a really good example of us not caring what people thought. We liked it. We thought it was fun. And we just hope that it's great when people like it. I'm not denying that. But you don't do it for that reason.
I mean, our friends thought we were insane, because all our friends knew that, we were already in our late 20s, 30, and we were like skint and
couldn't dance.
And suddenly this record's got turned down by everybody, and we then go and borrow money to promote it, because we think it's a record, and they just think you're insane.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're insane.
Also, you've got to remember back in the day when we were breaking, some bands looked fantastic. Duran Duran, with the hair and the shoulders and the pretty faces, And
then there's us.
And then there was us. We were at an event in Germany, and it was a record company, big record company awards thing, and the limos were driving up outside with all the bands in, and all the bands ahead of us were boy bands of various kinds. In Sync and
Backstreet Boy. It was a bunch of them, yeah.
and there's a band called the Shirtlifters.
No, Uplifters.
Oh, the Uplifters, and we call them the Shirtlifters.
They got quite upset about that.
Anyway,
Yeah,
all the cars, all the limos were going down, and every time a boy band got out of one of these limos, the crowd went mental. Obviously,
all
the girls are screaming. Our car gets down there, we get out, silence.
Who the hell are they? I thought they were with security.
Why the security in that car?
Yeah.
So we didn't really fit in at any point, really.
Yeah. You were fighting against Bryan Adams, weren't you, for a little bit? He was number one for a while, so you were having that fight.
In the UK, yeah. I mean, in a way, if your first record goes number one,
what else is there?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't like us in the first place. They would have come after us with even more venom. So I think going to number two gave us somewhere to go, which we did. We did in the album. But then we realised, Britpop came and was huge, obviously, and we didn't fit that. So it wasn't really that visible or that influential abroad. I mean, we were working in Europe a lot during the 90s, and you heard it, but it wasn't a big deal. So Europe became our home, really. We were much more accepted there, and we had much more success there. Our airplay was mad, and TV appearances, and
also I think
so. We spent after about 94, 95. We spent all our time abroad. Yeah.
Also, I think in the UK, you're not allowed to clown around if you're a pop star. You've got to be a little bit serious. You've got to be a little bit reflective. Have one eyebrow. Talk about smoking, stuff like that. And we just clown around. And I don't think people who want music to be taken seriously, or want themselves to be taken seriously by default, don't like that. They think we're taking a mickey out of them, and actually we're not. We're just
having fun. You're doing life the way that you want to do it.
Life is so. You go into X now. You could. It's self-harming. I mean, it's so depressing. But so you, as you were saying earlier, music takes you out of it. Really, and same with the gym, same with exercise, going for a walk. It takes you out of this nonsense. And when I'm in the gym, the one thing that cheers me up is putting in the iPods and switching off and listening to music. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it takes you away from everything.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, going from that music world and that culture, things changed massively for you guys, and it's well documented. And you guys have never shied away. Cancel culture, because that was a huge pivotal moment in your career. I mean, from outside you're looking in. I mean, I think it was you guys. I think Richard, you attended the demonstration against the Iraq War, one of the first protests you went on, and it kind of. How did that look for you guys? Because all of a sudden, the music industry, very woke, very kind of like, liberal, all that kind of stuff. All of a sudden, here you guys were, all of a sudden, making political statements by actually attending these things and standing up for what you believed in. Did that really change things massive for you in your careers?
Well, I think what one of the things that was surprising to us was when the UK, and it's still in this position, I think, when the UK got into a position where having an opinion was in itself controversial. There was a time when we grew up at a time when having an opinion was just having an opinion, and people could talk about it, and it was all fine. And then we started going to demos and stuff. And I remember, I think Piers Morgan threw his toys out the pram on one particular occasion, and suddenly we thought, oh, right, you can't actually. Well, you can say what you want, but you've got to be prepared for the brickbats.
Yeah.
And that surprised us, but we were determined not to shut up. Really, and
so also when people say, "Oh, you spoke out," it's a funny phrase that, because in reality, all we did was we voiced an opinion. We just thought maybe civil liberties, maybe personal choice on what goes inside your body is a crazy idea,
Hello.
And then people started saying, "Oh, you're speaking out." Well, we weren't speaking out; we were just voicing an opinion, which I stupidly thought you were allowed to do. I mean, that was quite naive of us, I suppose.
But also, we were labelled anti-vax immediately,
which we're not.
Which we have never been.
No,
our position.
We never said it.
No, and we never said it. We've always just said whatever you want to do, but at least do some research, look into it, think carefully. Don't just do it because Boris Johnson tells you to do it.
Also,
absolutely,
Did you actually do research?
Sorry.
Did you
No,
do
no.
research around it? Were you looking into it just to figure
We
out?
did
what was-
progressively. We did.
Yeah, what happened was is that because we have voice and opinion, we suddenly found ourselves on WhatsApp groups with all sorts of really, really knowledgeable people, way smarter than I
Yeah,
could ever
exactly.
dream of being.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention names because it's a private group, but doctors and scientists and nurses and all these people chatting on WhatsApp about the effectiveness of a mask or the social distancing or whatever. And so we did. Yeah, we did. We initially it was surely people can make their minds up. And the first thing we spoke out about or showed an opinion about was the lockdown. And the reason that is because we both live quite close to Heathrow, both in Berkshire. And on certain days you're on the flight path. So as Boris Johnson announces the lockdown, okay, right. So we're in our homes, and then planes
Coming in.
So I'm thinking, well, this isn't much for a frigging lockdown, is it? So so I ring up Richard, say, let's go Heathrow, have a look. So we drove up there, went to Terminal 5, and on the arrivals board, it's just like
Honestly.
Beijing, Sao Paulo, everywhere. They're all coming in. I thought, well, these people aren't being checked, are they? Clearly.
Yeah.
And so what sort of lockdown is this? And so I just thought, no. This is also, it's Boris Johnson. You've got to remember the guy's a serial liar. So I thought, well, you can't believe what he says. And clearly it's not happening. And suddenly some people can lock down and others don't have to. And I just thought that none of this makes sense. Why are you locking down healthy people? What's their problem?
Also,
None of it made sense.
No, it was bizarre. There's simple things like the etiquette in a restaurant. You could put the food under your mask, and then and put it on completely to walk to the toilet. Then when you came back, you could take your mask off for the food. So it almost as if the virus only worked 5 feet off the floor. Do you know what I mean? It hovered around, and that's the minute you bobbed up, you had to put your mask on because that's when you're in the viral area. None of it made sense. I remember seeing Holly, whatever her name was, and
Willoughby.
hugging each other. Through a plastic sheet, and I thought, oh, come on.
It was ridiculous.
And then the next thing,
Philip Schofield. I mean, that you look back at that now, and people will go, "What the hell did we allow?" Or we didn't. I didn't obey lockdown. I'm honest. I protested against it like you guys, and you did. We knew it was a scam. It was one big scam. And sadly, lots of people fell for it.
Well, I mean, the thing that was so patently that made it so patently obvious that it was a bit of a thing was the prizes that you were offered for getting a jab. And the Czech Republic was offering half an hour with your favourite prostitute. Honestly. Or a free Uber ride, or a donut.
When I thought about that, imagine being a prostitute in Czech Republic and you're no one's favourite. No one wants to. That's a bad day. That's a bad day.
But it was.
And it was soon that then, innit? You eat out and all that, and you could have all these freebies and all that. They would give you like McDonald's for free in Wales, if you had the jab. Like, I mean, it was just bonkers. I mean, Mark Drakeford in Wales shutting down aisles. People couldn't buy birthday cards because you'd spread the virus from holding a birthday card. I mean, the whole thing was just
exactly. You weren't allowed to touch Amazon boxes, were you, for 72 hours or something? I mean, all that. And I remember going, do you remember the thing they used to point at your head for the temperature thing? Do you remember that? Okay. Well, I went into a pub with a friend of mine at the time, and the girl pointed at my forehead. And Fred's daughter is a nurse, a doctor. And she said they don't work. But the only way they can work is if you've come in from outside, you have to sit in the room before they use this thing, because otherwise your forehead is registering the temperature from outside.
Takes a while.
It takes a while to acclimatize. So anyway, I said this to the girl behind the counter in the pub, and I said, this is not really working, is it? She said, oh no, it does work. It says it on the packet.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I know.
It was I was actually teaching year 4 medical students at the time around COVID, and basically my one consultant came over to me and he just said, listen, Rogue, I am telling you, do not have the vaccine. He said, do not tell people I have told you this. This was at the time. He said, because I promise you it will kill you. And that is all he said. And he just looked at me and he said, Boris Johnson is paying us to tell you to get it done. And we are getting an incentive to actually boost people with this jab. And I'm there just going, stop it then. If you know, and he's like, I can't. I'm part of the system now.
That's right.
And I think it was horrendous. You know, you could see the struggles. My dad ran nursing homes, you know, and it was just awful, you know. And then eventually, I think, you know, you probably were quite prolific in that movement. You know, people started questioning that narrative and people started saying, hang on a minute. And when you have a voice like yours that speaks up and speaks out, people will ask the questions because you're going against, you know, the grain, aren't you? And we're having to ask the questions. So a lot of people started walking out of nursing homes and out of like the NHS on the premise that, you know, actually this is our body. This is we should have
exactly. Well, the thing is, Ro, what I thought was weird is that when you have the abortion debate, for instance, it's my body, my choice. Okay, it's my body, my choice, which is fine. Okay, I get the point of that. But when it came to the jab, it's my body, your choice.
Absolutely.
I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that. And the whole thing with condoms, if you're having sex with somebody you don't know, you wear a condom just in case. But hey, stick that needle in my arm. I don't care.
I love that illustration. That's so true. And the thing is, when any government tells you to do something for your own safety, the first thing you do is question it, right? Straight away, right? Because they cannot be trusted. And if you remember, Boris Johnson wanted to make it mandatory, right? For even to go to work, if you want to go on holiday and everything else. So it was almost, you were bribed into having it, man. And the whole thing was sick.
It was.
I found really difficult, just to quickly say, and I'm sure you probably found the same. The amount of gaslighting that was given, it was just so prolific. It's like, this is an abusive relationship. Like, we are listening to you telling us, you know, that actually you have to have it because you have to save Granny. But then they're all, like you said, taking off their mask and they're like, oh, look at that, you know, what's going on? It's like, wow.
During that time, we were going to Europe doing some quite big TV shows. And when we rocked up, they'd say, can you wear a mask? We'd say, no, we don't wear masks. They go, okay, come on.
They didn't care.
These are big TV stations. These are like their versions of ITV or whatever. And over here, it was incredibly paranoid. And we were sort of, you know, vilified and parade around like we're lunatics. And what I think also, there was a thing in the truther movement, and I hate that expression, I just use it for now. I think people were disappointed because they thought that the sort of artist that would speak out was someone that already seemed quite edgy, like, you know, maybe Sleaford Mods or, I don't know, you know,
Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, Pulp or someone. But
remember that?
Yeah, but it was us. And I think some people found that very disconcerting. It was those blokes that sung "I'm Too Sexy" and "Hippy Tippy." They didn't make any sense. No. And I think that upset. There are quite a few people in this, you know, as I say, the movement, if you want to call it that. I don't think it is, but anyway, let's call it that for now. Who I think are very disappointed. They were expecting, you know, Robbie Williams or someone to go, "Hey, this is all madness and blah blah blah," but it was us, and I think they're pretty upset about that.
The thing that always got me confused was if, say, 10 years ago, you'd be in a TV studio and you had 100 people in front of you. You said, put your hand up if you trust implicitly everything politicians say in your favor. Nobody would have put their hand up, right? But 10 years later, all those same people were doing exactly what the government told them.
Also,
I don't understand that.
One thing I thought was mad, you know, a lot of artists in music are sort of left-leaning in terms of politics. Yeah. And they're taking health advice from Boris Johnson.
Who's a big fat lump?
Who's this? And I'm thinking, okay, if it was Jeremy Corbyn saying this, I might think, okay, I kind of get that. But they're taking direction from a person they actively dislike and distrust. And I just thought, no, this can't be right. This is collective madness.
I don't know whether you know this story, but there's a story of a lady, I think it was in Edinburgh, definitely in Scotland, but I think maybe it was in Edinburgh. And she had cut a piece of wood, a stick, to the length of 6 feet. And she would carry it around with her when she was shopping. And if she saw two people standing too close together, and breaking the Dr. Fauci, advice, she'd stick the stick between them and force them apart. Honestly, it's people
I'd like to slap her.
they were absolutely insane.
What
And I think,
on earth?
I think during that time, though, it was a case of people were afraid because the mainstream media were pushing so much fear mongering and
completely.
telling people how deadly it was. And it was, look, the flu disappeared during that time. If you remember, there was no flu, right? Apparently, it disappeared.
Exactly.
And they were publishing the death rates on TV when actually these weren't people dying from COVID; they died with COVID, and they lied to us. They lied to the public.
I think
Yeah,
it was a guy in Miami was killed on a motorbike, and his death certificate said COVID.
I mean, it was. I mean, it's good. It's better. Obviously, now people are reflecting, and Fauci has admitted that he just made it up on the spot. The 6 foot rule, and now Mark. Sorry.
What a dick.
Yeah, I know.
And the lunacy of that period. There are still people that hang on to it. We still get, but because we had that opinion, we're now suddenly called far right. I mean, I'm not quite sure how that works, but it's the insanity is still there if you look for it. Well, we're seeing it, aren't we? We're seeing with the with Labour and the current state of affairs in this country.
It's sort of. I think. Well, we talked about this quite a bit. We think it started during the Brexit thing, where you weren't allowed really to have an opinion. If you had an opinion that didn't fit the main narrative, you were either a gammon or a Ramona. You were either a like a jingoistic idiot, or you were a fascist or something. There was no real understanding, or trying to reach some across the aisle, if you like, to understand why people were feeling like they felt. And that's when it started for me, and that's when I became aware that the UK had changed fundamentally. I think, and then those divisions have since been exploited by some very bad actors. I think, and we're in a bad place now where I mean, there was a thing today about demonstrations going on in London in the next few weeks, and it's I tell you, it's changed something. It was the Bob Dylan thing really brought it home to me. Bob Dylan at Glastonbury, whereas music is meant to be bringing people together and giving everybody a good time, he gets on stage and starts talking about killing people. It's awful. It is absolutely awful. And all you need is love. It's like yesterday. Today, it's all you need is guns and hate. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Also, the other thing I was surprised is how willing people believe the mainstream media. And I remember when I think it was the Daily Mail who said Richard was rushed to hospital with COVID, which didn't happen. He was in hospital because he had this head injury, and we got the doctor around. He had his oxygen, his vitals were very low.
Doctor was good, actually.
Yeah, doctor was great. And 111 were fantastic. NHS 111 fantastic. They took him to hospital, and because his vitals were pretty low, while he was in hospital, they tested him for COVID. But the whole thing was Richard was rushed to COVID rushed to hospital with COVID, and everyone believed it because it was in the press. And Piers Morgan and you just think, why are you people so stupid?
We got things. And why didn't he die? What did
the stuff we had on that we had death threats and why aren't you dead and all this sort of stuff.
What was interesting though, on the day that I was in there for about 2 days, I think. And it was like a really heavy flu. And if you want to call it COVID, you can call it COVID. But to me, it was a really heavy flu. And I was in the hospital for 2 days. Just prior to being discharged, the consultant nurse came in, she was about 25, I would think. And I just wanted to ask her this one question. I said, have you ever heard of ivermectin? Just a sec. And she said, sorry, how do you spell that? So I spelt it. She flipped up her phone, looked at Google, whatever it was. I looked at it for maybe 5-10 seconds, shut it off and walked out. No interest in it at all. None. And in France, ivermectin was actually taken off the shelves.
Yeah, loads of places did.
It was taken off the shelves. And weirdly, it's on the WHO safety drugs list.
I know.
Well, Trump was slated for it when he was absolutely castrated, the whole thing, because and if you go back to those times, I think what it taught a lot of us is that now, if it ever happened again and they tried to impose lockdowns, they would have mass non-compliance, and people are aware.
I think they would. I think they would have more non-compliance, But sadly, I still think there are people.
I think there'd be a lot.
I think there are a lot of people who will still do it.
Yeah, I do.
I do. I think people are. They're also, don't forget, you never want to admit you're wrong. You never want to admit that. It makes you look like an idiot. Even if deep down you know you might be wrong, you never want to say it. That's why politicians are so full of crap all the time, because they will never admit. They would never admit. They'd rather stay wrong than be right.
They misspoke.
They misspoke. Exactly. I think with the lockdown thing, I think you're right, actually, Richie. I think a lot of people would be more skeptical and cynical about what was going on, but you would definitely get people who would err on the side of caution.
Yeah, they would.
They just would. And the guy in the white coat, I believe what he's saying.
It's a generational thing as well. It's based on fear. Like my mum would not say boo to a goose. She wouldn't even, if a doctor said this, she would believe it. And I'm like, no, challenge that, because that's not right, Mum. And she's like, no, the doctor said. It's like, no.
Well, actually, funny enough, one of the things that changed the relationship between patients and doctors was HIV. Because HIV, people who are suffering from HIV got very aggressive with their consultants and their doctors about medication. And when there's the possibility of a medication out there that they were being refused for whatever reason, they got extremely angry. And so they began to challenge their consultants and their doctors. And that fed into the ordinary patient-doctor relationship. And of course, now you've got Google, so you can self-medicate if you're that way inclined.
Yeah.
But that relationship has changed. And you're absolutely right. When we were kids, we had two doctors. And Mum and Dad would have believed absolutely everything they said. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, absolutely.
And back in them days, they used to come to the house, didn't they? It was a family doctor.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And the same with the church. When we were kids, we moved house with Mum and Dad, obviously, to a new house. And within about a month, bang on the door, and it was a local priest.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you in church. Oh yeah, haven't seen you in church. I mean, that's when the Church of England had a bit of muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that.
I'm
just going back to, I mean, I know, I don't know how long you've got, but, we're sort of coming up to an hour and 10 minutes. But, you've had, like you said, death threats. You've had your book cancelled, autobiography, wasn't it? That was being cancelled. You've had a film that you were doing, it's been cancelled, commercials cancelled, and 100+ shows cancelled. Like, how did that make you feel? It's like, I'm telling the truth, I'm standing up for myself, and yet I'm being cancelled for being yourself. What the hell?
It was weird. We actually offered a tour this year in the UK, and the promoter said to us, "Yeah, we can do a tour, we can do a run." Okay, he said, "But I need you to guarantee you're not going to say anything." I said, "What?" He said, "You can't say anything."
Control much.
Yeah, that's not going to work, mate. Yeah, okay.
I mean, also, we have never, ever used the music stage that we're on to promote a political opinion. We not once. Ever.
Never waved a flag.
Never waved a flag. We've never done any of that nonsense. And I believe that's the right position for us to adopt. When we're asked about COVID, or whether we're asked about net zero or whatever it happens, I think it's legitimate to say what we think. Hiding behind, well, I'm just a musician, I don't know anything about that. That's all rubbish. So I think when we're asked, we should answer truthfully. But when it comes to music, we do try.
We do separate them.
We do separate them.
Yeah, we do.
There's a couple of songs we've done, as Fred said earlier, which are sort of quasi-political. But broadly speaking, we don't use music as a way of proselytizing what we think politically. We just don't. And also, of course, there are songs like "The Best Is Not." What's that song that the Labour Party used back in the day? Dream.
Things can only get
better.
Oh, yeah.
And great song. And they hated the fact that Labour Party were using it. But that songs have that right to be used however they want to be used. Yeah. So if our next single, "Raise Your Hands," is used by the far right in Germany,
we won't go there. I know.
We've been putting Nazi suits.
We've been putting Nazi suits on the show.
It's been gross that we've had people
attack us,
literally attack us because we stand up again for our freedoms. And then, to be fair though, I was quite impressed because I did look quite good in grey, and I was like, okay, that actually suits me. But it was just an absolute attack on us for speaking out the truth, which is our truth, and we're allowed to. But it's so stifled.
I think going back to the music thing, and it goes to that as well, Rogue, is that the politicization of music, the music industry now has become a massive thing, isn't it? And, you know, you get a lot of celebrities using their platform to push a certain narrative. And like you guys say, you know, keep music, sport the same. You know, it's been politicized. Keep it politics out of our industries, out of our sports, out of our music industry, our entertainment. It doesn't belong there. Have those conversations and debates where you need to, like the pub, which is the People's Parliament. But let people go out and enjoy themselves. We've lost that sense of joy in the country, and that really, I mean, we really have.
I agree. I mean, you look at well, I tread carefully when I go to X, because it's like a petri dish. It is just full of all this weird sort of anger and hatred, and everybody, you know, you'll mention something and someone will attack you on a completely different subject. It's like there's all this anger out there, and they will just use anything, any excuse to have a go, and not just us. I mean, I see it with loads and loads of accounts.
I've just seen a thing from Helen Crystals, and she says most professions that have to pass through the unit system now seem to be thoroughly indoctrinated. And I remember the reason I picked up on that is because when I was at university, it wasn't university, it was what they call them before the universities.
Borstal.
Borstal. Anyway, whatever. I had a book called, had a history book called The World Turned Upside Down. And the writer, it was a book that we were told to write, told to read. And I looked up the writer some years later, and the writer was a lifelong Marxist, which is fine, but we didn't know.
Yeah.
I was given that book and they were definitely doing that. It wasn't like he was a far right. You know, if they'd given me two books, a far right and a far left, then fine. But that's not what happened. So I think that's partly true. And I think what was very depressing for me, and still is in the UK, is we have forgotten our fundamental freedoms, fundamental right to say what you think and speak how you feel, and to recognize reality when you see it. This whole idea that I mean, Ricky Gervais was very funny. He's talking about. He said I don't like the old-fashioned women. You know, the women with wombs and stuff. I don't like all that. I like these modern women. You, the ones with penises. Those are the women I like.
Does he say that?
Very funny.
Oh my god! Sounds like the life of Brian.
I know.
It's that denial of what the stuff you see in front of you. Black is white. No, black. You know, this fundamental disagreement about some very ordinary things, and now the NHS is recommending some kind of gender reassignment for toddlers.
Don't get me started.
It's just you can't get your head around it. Same with. I'm not a Christian or I'm more spiritual, I think, but I'm certainly not Christian. But the abortion thing is interesting to me because I didn't know how truly gross abortion actually is. The actual process of it. And when people talk about it and they're pro-abortion, for instance, I don't think they've ever been. It's like meat eaters not wanting to go to an abattoir because it's too gross. Well, I think if you're a meat eater, I think you should be dragged along there to have a look at what goes on, you know. And if you're pro-abortion, you've got to go to a clinic and actually see what goes on. Then you might change your mind. So there's a lot of this sort of virtue signaling stuff that's going on, and people are just denying the reality in front of them, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like more people are starting to speak out as well. So John Cleese, he's actually started to speak out, and he's like coming for. He's tweeted about 4 or 5 of my tweets, and I'm like,
I gotta say, when he retweeted, she come running to me, and go, John Cleese has retweeted me.
I'm so excited.
Was it about Rupert Lowe? Was it that stuff?
No.
It was to do with.
It was more about sort of like the borders being wide open and about Kia, because I can't stand with a passion.
What's your thoughts on Rupert Lowe, guys? Why we got you on the show? Because of course
he's definitely niggled Nigel Farage, isn't he?
Yeah, I support him with the rape gang inquiry because I think that's absolutely fundamental for that to go ahead, because the idea of those poor girls not having some sort of justice and some sort of recall is disgusting. I don't know if I would particularly agree with him on some other. I don't agree with mass deportations as an example. I don't agree with that. I think it needs to be more. It's a very sensitive issue, and I think if you're here illegally and you've broken the law, you should be gone. And if you're here legally and you've broken the law, like if I broke the law, you should be in prison. So, but the mass, this sort of hammer to break the nut thing, I don't really.
Yeah, one of the issues that we've talked about between us is if you're illegal here, if you've come into the country illegal, and your status is still illegal, but you are working and paying taxes and maybe even employing people, should that person be thrown out?
No, they shouldn't. No.
I don't think they should. But
Yeah,
the problem
fair
with that, but the problem with that becomes the actual logistical nightmare of identifying those people. That would be
the task is extraordinary.
Is huge.
You know, so I don't have the answers, but you know, there's clearly the tensions are getting worse and worse, and sadly, I don't think it's going to end particularly well.
Also, I think what's happening with Farage and Lowe is, and what I don't think Farage understands. You know, it sounds arrogant for me to say that, but I don't think he quite grasps the anger that's going on in the UK. I don't think he quite gets it. And what I think Rupert Lowe is tapping into is whether it's real or achievable, or in a way that doesn't matter. The language is so straight and so unequivocal, so without nuance. There's none of this shilly-shallying around. And I think that's what people are tapping into. I don't think they're necessarily tapping into the detail, but they're tapping into the emotive positivity of it. And I think Nigel Farage is trying to play both ends against the middle and pleasing no one. That's my
It's interesting.
So go on. I was going to say we've got Ben Habib in the mix as well, haven't we?
Yeah,
so there's kind of like everybody is like, what?
Yeah, we did an interview with Ben actually.
I like him.
Yeah, we did an interview with Ben.
Nice guy.
He's a very, very nice guy. The weird thing is, I checked with his PA today that the Advanced UK people have reached out, to use that expression, to Restore to create some kind of cooperative thing between the two parties, and Restore haven't and Rupert Lowe have not replied. So what's going on there? So I went to the PA lady and I said, "Is this true?" She said, "Yeah, we haven't heard a word."
Okay, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the world of politics. It's all cloak and dagger, isn't it? Sometimes, and I think when you dive into it, and we've been involved in it. I've been involved myself, and Rogue has as well, political parties in different capacities, and I think we've kind of tried to do what we can do here in Wales, because Wales is a different beast altogether, as you know, right? Welsh people are very different, right? And I think, you know, we can influence politicians and politics from the outside. We don't have to be involved in a party. I mean, you guys, obviously, you put stuff out on X and you get reactions as you do. You've got your views, which everyone should be entitled to.
I'm going to follow you now.
Yeah, she's going to follow. She's going to want you to follow her back now. I'd Rogue right?
We will do that. We will do that. Yeah.
Just to say, I mean, did you ever consider yourselves going into politics at all?
I did for a while. Yes,
we've been asked.
Right. The reason that it's a selfish reason actually that I personally haven't is because I think it would make me miserable. I
think that's a good reason.
I think it would make me sad, and I'm not sure that
We're following.
Oh, cool. Music. I enjoy music. I enjoy writing, and I like the purity of music. Music is like clean water. It's refreshing and it's unsullied. Once you get into politics, you have to be ready for the swamp that you're in. How Trump does it, I have absolutely no idea.
I don't know how any of them.
I don't know how they do it.
Imagine what their days are like.
Every morning. Every morning.
Right.
There's another 10 people who hate you. Oh, who are they? Can I have them shot? No, you can't have them shot. We want to check up, which is very funny. Have you seen it? The comedian Pat Smith. Have you seen it? Right. Going to Google.
No.
Okay, going to Google YouTube.
I think it's on our feed.
It might be on our feed. It's a Pat
we'll
Smith.
Check that out.
He's a stand-up comedian, and he's doing a thing about immigration, and it's very funny. It's very funny. You should check it out. We'll send it to you.
I think I've got it,
but
it's on our feed from 2 days ago.
From 2 days ago.
Okay, I'll have it.
He's a guy with a beard. For us, it was just our parents have both gone. Sad, have both died. But in a way, I'm pleased they have, because Dad would be he thought there was something special about the UK. He really did. Second World War and the Merchant Navy,
British Bulldog.
It could never happen here. It could never happen here. We're very different.
Yeah.
And I think what has transpired has shown us that yes, it can happen here.
Yeah,
people will. They will snitch on their neighbours. They will do what the government tells them. They will forget their fundamental rights. Blah blah blah. And the democracy is a very delicate thing. It needs feeding. You can't have people who deny it. You can't have people trying to undermine it. You just absolutely cannot. You've got to be completely muscular about democracy and defend it at every opportunity, I think.
Amen to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to round up with a question, but first of all, I'm going to tell you my little story, and then I want to hear like what's happened to you. So I actually used to work in London in the music industry, and I was told this one day, it was my first day in the job with David Lynch, and I'm sat there just kind of going, okay, I can kind of handle myself. I can sort of throw myself in and pretend to look like I know what I'm doing, but whether I do or not is a completely different matter. So he looks at me and he says, right, we need to do like a video, and I need this guy in America to be phoned, and you have to do it. And I'm like, cool, yep, I can handle this. So I literally phone, and his name was Ryan. And I say to Ryan, sorry, I don't know if you can hear that in the background. I say to Ryan, oh, hi, Ryan. I just wanted to say that David Lynch has asked me to call you. And I was looking to, and he said, oh, hey, can you just hold on a moment? I'm just talking to Steve. And then he's like, yeah, Steve, yeah, whatever. And then he came back to me and he said, so, I was just talking to Steven Spielberg because, we're just in the middle of this set. And I am not joking. I hung up. I just went, oh my God. Total. And Dave Lynch looked at me and went, what was that? And I'm like, oh, the phone kind of died. The signal was really, really bad. I'm so sorry. But it was one of those like, oh my God, what the hell did you just do moments? And I wondered, what is your biggest, oh my God, what the hell have I just done moment?
Okay. I know mine.
Go.
Mine, we were on a chat show in America, Arsenio Hall show, which was a younger sort of demographic thing back at the day, and it was a big show. And they said to me, "Is there anybody you'd like to have sex with, famous?" And this guy was drinking water, and I said, "Yeah, I'd like to have had sex with Frank Sinatra." He spat all this water out. I mean,
oh my God, that's hilarious.
That's the thing I remember.
Right.
Brilliant.
Come on.
Oh, me?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Fred, you're up.
We had a show in Lithuania, and this is back when I was doing too many drugs and drinking and stuff, and I was quite a bit mouthy. And we were doing this football stadium, about 25,000 people, and it was rammed. It was absolutely rammed, and there were thousands of people outside, and etc. And the promoter said, "I'm not paying you the rest of the money because these are not your fans; these are my friends, because you couldn't sell any tickets." So I said to him, "So you've got 25,000 friends? This is what I'm meant to believe." And he said, "Yes." And I got pretty rude. I called him an arsehole. And the next minute, I've got a gun at my head.
What?
And the security guards have all got their rifles
out there, Wild West out there.
And then they came in with the dogs. And I thought, yeah, I might not want to do that again.
Never. Oh
Yeah, they
my
did.
gosh.
That part of the world I don't know if it's still like that, but back in the day when we were there, which is not that long ago, it was Wild West. It was really, and one of the things, a lot of the women had been promoted. They were the security heads or whatever. But because those societies are so misogynistic, the men do not like being told what to do by women.
No.
So even though the woman is in charge, even though she's the boss, they are really reluctant to take any notice of her at all.
Wow.
And that was a wake up call.
Yeah.
And then we got beaten up in Moscow, and so it
was all great.
Oh, yeah, good
Man, that is.
It's
That's
on CNN. You should check it out. It's a good movie.
Well, guys, listen. I just want to say, because we're coming to the end of my road, just to say, because we know how busy you guys are. We've really, really, really enjoyed and appreciate having you on. We really have. It's been magnificent. We'd love to get you back on again another time if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, just let us know. Absolutely.
And yeah, we will do. And we want to know now. So what's happening? Are you touring now? What projects are you working on? And what's your next gig? And can we get any free tickets to the next one so we can come along and watch?
Yeah, I've got a record coming out on February 20th. That's called Raise Your Hands. And then we're out on the road from May. And I think we start off in Europe. I'm not quite sure. And we've got a couple of shows in the UK. I don't think we played the UK at all last year. But if you go to our website, rightsofred.com, you'll see the shows listed there. and I think we've got a couple in the UK. So you're more than welcome to come along.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'd
we
love,
would love to do that.
I'll start dancing.
Yeah, we will. We'll bring on our team with us as well, our researchers and everything. Producers.
Actually,
Yeah.
saying that, they have asked me, they've been texting me saying, can you just get them to say hello to Nikki and hello to Claire Bear, please? They are our team. So could you just
Say hello
please
to
give them
Nikki.
Nikki and Claire.
Nikki and Claire. Hello, Nikki. Hello, Claire. Hope
Hello,
you're well.
Nikki.
Lots
Hello,
of
Claire.
love.
Yeah, lots of love from my side. There you go.
Perfect. Right. We'll have a look at your website. We will find some dates. We'll
Yeah.
be in touch and we
Yeah.
hope to have you on again
Yeah.
soon. And good luck with all you're doing.
Good
this
luck,
year.
guys. We're praying
you.
for you and thinking about you.
Thank you.
Lots of
And
love.
we'll send you this link to that
Yeah,
comedian.
we will.
Make you laugh.
Okay, perfect.
Brilliant.
Lots of love.
Thank
See
you
you
so
later.
much.
Bye,
Take
guys.
care,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
What an incredible duo.
I enjoyed
Do
that.
you
It was
know what?
great.
They're great, and they're so much fun.
I don't know if those mics are working. I don't know what the sounds like because we had technical issues before we came in the studio. But I really enjoyed that. You know, and that's one of the things that people forget because the last couple of days we've had some like heated things going on with politics. But we want to talk to all kinds of people, don't we? And you know, and guests. And
Absolutely.
it's great to have them on. I really enjoyed that. And
Yeah.
of course, this is going to be I mean 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're not going to have loads of viewers at the moment. But obviously, this is going to go out tonight as well. So please make sure you share it as well as many people as you can.
Absolutely share it and let everybody know that we have had the amazing Right Said Fred on.
I know it's been amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And tomorrow night, what's happening tomorrow night? We've got
Andrew Bridgen.
Andrew Bridgen on with us tomorrow night, another different show again. And we're lining up loads of different guests for the next couple of weeks. We'll let you know. You know where to find us on all the social medias anyway. Now, if you don't, please do so. And of course, we want to thank all of our members here on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. That is growing. We picked up a lot of new members yesterday. It's important because that membership goes to help support what we do because we need better microphones and cameras and everything else. So please do consider hitting that membership button for a small amount to support myself and Rogue in what we're trying to do, bringing you unfiltered truth, uncensored, unbiased every single
Can I
day.
just say, I've been
Yeah.
getting really stressed because it looks like I've got loads of rolls, but it's my t-shirt that I've rolled up. And all the time I was
you
just
look
like,
magnificent,
oh,
darling.
only
as ever.
because Keir Starmer.
Yes. I don't think they're looking at the right thing, love.
All right, okay.
Anyway,
Thanks,
so
everybody.
it's been a wonderful show. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll catch you tomorrow night.
Yep, take care.
Take care. Have a lovely day. Take care now. Bye.